thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, guys. That's right. It is Wednesday, November 6th, and today is National Stress Awareness Day, you guys. What do you have to say
they're gonna
about
be stressed
that?
today, Jason.
Oh, man. People are stressed out.
What a day.
Oh, man. I'm not stressing. I'm too blessed to be stressed. It's also National Nachos Day, you guys.
And Kamala's nacho president.
Yeah, right. What was that, Rico?
Nacho, ordinary tortilla.
And for all you Bill Clinton fans out there, it's also National Saxophone Day.
I thought you were going to say cigar. I swear to God, I thought you were going to say cigar.
Of course you would. Oh, man. Thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above or down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So thank you all for joining us from whatever platform you are joining us from. We do appreciate you. Happy day after Election Day, you guys. And we are going to kick it off, that's right, with the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte. The man who was so happy to vote for me yesterday when he went into the ballot box. I was his write-in candidate. That's right. It is my right-hand man. That's right, Rico Lamitte.
Tell them what you wrote in, Rico.
This is my right hand.
I bet.
It is hump day, everybody, and the sun has risen once again.
Yes.
With everything going on globally and all eyes focused on last night's political climax of the Harris and Trump battle for America's soul. As predicted, mainstream media once again glossed over the results of what was arguably the last and most consequential legalization effort remaining for cannabis on a state level. Good thing for all of you, we are not mainstream media. We are High at 9 News, America's #1 daily cannabis news show. That said, 4 more states had legalization on their ballots in yesterday's election: North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Florida. Although the first three's effect in the grand scheme of things would be negligible at best, the last one, Florida, if passed, had been projected in the days leading up to Tuesday's results bring in a close to $3 billion in revenue its first year of operating alone. Big egos and big money were on the line yesterday. How did they all do? Starting in North Dakota, initiated Measure 5, which aimed to legalize adult use marijuana, was rejected by voters with a narrow 52.5% no majority. South Dakota initiated Measure 29, which proposed legalizing adult use marijuana, was also rejected with 56.5 voting no. Nebraska voters did approve 2 measures, Initiative Measures 437 and 438, which legalize medical marijuana. Adult use remains illegal in the state. And finally, the big one, Florida. Floridians rejected a highly publicized Amendment 3, which would have legalized adult use in the Sunshine State. The measure was supported by former president and current president-elect Donald Trump and majoritively bankrolled by Florida-based medical behemoth TrueLeave. We're going to have more on that from Jason Beck in a few minutes, so I won't go too deep. Unfortunately, Ron DeSantis in Florida's prohibitionist Republican Party got the win there. Amendment 3 received 55.9% voter support, but fell short of the 60% threshold needed to pass. So all in all, the results showed Nebraska made progress. We'll see how that ends up in court on the medical front. But recreational use failed in all 4 states. Can I get a sad trombone on that one? Pot stocks are way down across the board this morning in response to all of the news. And with Trump headed back into the White House and Jason Beck's proposed position of America's first official cannabis czar in the new administration not even being mentioned once throughout his campaign, who knows what tomorrow might bring. Has adult use cannabis in America finally peaked? I cannot wait to hear everybody's thoughts today. Gonna be a juicy one. Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. Big smile on my face this morning. What do you got for me?
Of course you have a big smile on your face. You know what I'm saying today, man. We won last night. Big wins. And we actually have a super chat from Cole who says, Florida, no home grow. That's a no from me, bro. So thank you so much for that super chat, Cole. We do super appreciate that. And I'll be going more into the Florida thing, but you know, like I said, I'm glad to get these all these initiatives done in all of these states and really help bring more access to people. You said so there was only one of them that was turned down by voters. Am I correct on that, Rico?
Oh, Nebraska, they approved 37 and 437, 438, which legalized medical marijuana, but they did shoot down. They did shoot down adult use everywhere, and that was the only positive or progressive movement that actually won yesterday across the board. Everybody else, it was all L's.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. You know, these people, these activists need to quit being whacktivists, and you know what I'm saying, do a lot more outreach to the mainstream community that is not necessarily their actual base. And I think they need to develop more on their talking points in order to secure a broader consensus.
I'm looking forward to 4 more years of that, Jason. You just
yes, me too.
Just taking these subtle jabs. I love it. I'm here.
Oh man.
I mean, it was interesting to me because South Dakota had passed previously, right? And it failed pretty strongly. Like it was a really,
it passed 3 times. It passed 3 times. It just keeps on getting
and but they failed really badly last night. Like it was a close.
So do we think that, are we blaming that on Dominion?
No, we blame it on Christy No.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Fair enough.
And the red wall, right? Like I think I had an article last week about how the red wall might keep cannabis legalization from going national, and the red wall held.
No, 100%. But like there was a red wall in South Dakota where they passed it 3 previous times. I just think they're probably sick of voting yes for it because she's not going to do it anyway, no matter how many times they pass it.
That's true. That's a very, very good point, Jenny Beth. You know, the voters in there could be like, you know what, we already voted for this. Like, what's the point? And you know, man, that is a very good point. Could it have a voter fatigue over on that issue?
Could be.
We in California think the whole world thinks like us. And they don't. And I think it was a wake-up call last night that the middle of this country does not see things the way the coast do. And that if you don't reach out and connect with people in these red states, that, you know, the chances of getting things through Congress now on the cannabis front, I think, are slim to none.
I don't know. We had some wins last night. We had like Jim Banks, senator in Indiana, who Republican senator. He was a yes on safe banking already. He had a huge win last night. So I'm much more optimistic that we can get some things done with this administration and with this Congress and Senate.
Well, I'm more of a pragmatist and a realist.
I am too.
Shit getting done. No, I don't. Because the Republicans I know have been the ones dragging their feet here in California, and they've been the ones dragging their feet in Congress, and now they have both. They're probably going to have both houses, and I just don't see this being a priority. Now, I'm happy to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong about this, but I see this dragging out.
It's all right. We're gonna keep this.
I agree with Dale. I don't think it's a priority either, Jason. I really don't.
I didn't say it was a priority.
That you're now saying huge instead of huge.
Huge. Yes. Just like in the title of the video, huge. Yes. Any other final thoughts on this, Omar?
No, I'm just disappointed by the outcome of the election. I thought that the people were ready for positive change. It looks like we're going to have to suffer 4 more years.
Well, I mean, a lot of us have been suffering these last 4 years.
The election,
I don't know, man. It's been 8 for me. I'm just used to it.
Oh man,
some of us have been suffering a lifetime.
Man, I was suffering all through Obama's years. He was promising to make cannabis legal, and I ended up getting raided twice by the DEA under his administration.
I just need for Biden to go ahead and pardon my student loans on his way out the door, like he said he was going to.
So I'm pissed. I paid off my wife's student loans, and then we got the damn letter just this past weekend saying, "Oh yeah, you've been fucking approved. I want my money back."
Yeah, you got to apply for a refund, Rico.
Yeah, right.
Or tell him you'll take it in the form of a tax credit.
Yeah, all right.
Oh man, yeah. On that, we're gonna roll into a commercial, and we are gonna be right back.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
Oh yeah, folks, we are back with the happiest man on the program today.
That's right.
He is the one who single-handedly held cannabis hopes alive for Republicans through this myriad of issues that they had to migrate through over this election season. And this morning, with a little bit more pep in his step, is none other than the highest Republican in every room he walks out of, known for smoking the best weed in the world, and now nobody's going to be able to contest any of his wild-ass assertions.
You're funny, Rico. Funny. Well, last night there was a lot of winners and a lot of losers, and who I think maybe possibly could have been the biggest loser overall last night. Very possibly. That's right. Kim Rivers, you guys. Kim Rivers, yes.
Kim Cry Me a River.
Oh, I like that, Rico. That's cute. That's very original right there. I like that.
Put me on Trump's team, man. Put me on Trump's team. I'm gonna come up with names for everybody.
Oh, hey, man, I'm telling you, bro, it works. It works. You start giving names for people, bro. It's you know what I mean? I'm just wondering if it truly.
His lame duck.
What's that, Jenny?
Instagram coordinator. Maybe Biden can hire Rico as his lame duck Instagram coordinator.
Everybody on the way out. I'm gonna bury the Democratic Party.
Oh, boy.
That shit.
Oh boy. Well, I'm gonna roll into my story, you guys. You guys are going to love this because Florida voters, they reject an adult use marijuana, ending an expensive ballot measure, you guys. That's right. Floridians have snuffed out the constitutional amendment allowing for adult use marijuana. Following the most expensive ballot measure battle in the nation, Decision Desk HQ and the Associated Press has called the race with Amendment 3 several percentage points short of the approval threshold, with the vast majority of votes counted. Governor Ron DeSantis also declared the amendment dead. With 96% of the vote tallied, the amendment sits at 55.8% approval, more than 4% shy of what was needed for passage, according to the AP data. Smart and Safe Florida, the group pushing for the amendment, Smart and Safe Florida should just call themselves Kim Rivers, acknowledged defeat in an email on Tuesday night, and in a quote says, "While the results of Amendment 3 did not clear the 60% threshold, we are eager to work with the governor and legislative leaders who agree with us on decriminalizing adult use marijuana for adults, addressing public consumption, continuing our focus on child safety, and expanding access to safe marijuana through home grow," it said. Oh, look at, they're already noticing their flaws. Amendment 3 would have allowed 21-year-olds to possess up to 3 ounces of marijuana or 5 grams in concentrated form. It falling short is one of the more shocking moments in the state's 2024 general election. I don't think it was shocking, but whatever. And while the polling was tight, most surveys found enough supportive Floridians for it to pass. And a mountain of money was at stake, both in tax dollars and company revenues. Trulieve, the state's largest medical marijuana operator, spent a fortune for Amendment 3 to pass. It donated the vast majority of the more than $150 million received by Smart and Safe Florida, the group running the pro-legalization campaign. That ignited the ire of DeSantis, who accused Trulieve of trying to create a cartel in the state constitution. The company has repeatedly refuted that and a slew of other criticisms launched against it and the adult use marijuana measure overall. While Trulieve is expected to hold the largest share of the adult use market, there are 24 other medical marijuana companies in Florida, and the DeSantis administration is sitting on licenses that would bring in 22 more. Other major marijuana companies like Curaleaf reported they'd spent tens of millions of dollars in preparation for approval. The amendment would have allowed the current medical marijuana providers to sell adult use products, though its language explicitly let the legislature the legislature provide licenses to other entities as well. Now that it matters now. Not that it matters now. And in a quote, "Even after spending over $150 million, the most in any drug legalization effort in American history, the people of Florida saw through Amendment's 3 web of deception and defeated this corporate power grab," wrote Vote No on 3. The campaign against the amendment on social media on Tuesday night, Trulieve's contributions weren't enough to overcome the Governor Ron DeSantis' administration's all-out assault on the amendment leading up to the election. Controversy using the state resources in the process, and despite former and future President Donald Trump's coming out in support of the measure, the state spent millions of dollars on advertising that appeared to be geared against it. That was mixed with numerous anti-adult use marijuana press conferences the governor hosted across the state. He and other opponents hit the amendment with a large quantity of questionable claims, including that the state legislature would be unable to regulate adult use marijuana. Those claims worked, and they'll remain untested. In a quote, you guys, "Proud to have fought the fight. We left it all on the field," said Trulieve CEO Kim Rivers in a Tuesday night statement. "Looking forward to working with the legislature on the next steps to ensure safe access to marijuana for adults in Florida, decriminalization for personal possession, and home grow," end quote on that. And while most states with a constitutional amendment system require only a simple majority's approval, Florida voters approved an amendment back in 2006 that raised the approval threshold from 50% to 60%, and that's a difficult threshold to reach. That 2006 measure passed by 58%, you guys. Well. Kim Rivers spent over $150 million on this whole thing, and man, my pockets would hurt after that type of an expenditure, and I'm sure hers do too. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to boo-hoo about this too.
I mean, I love it. I love to see it. I think that bill was terrible. I think it was completely short-sighted. It was Kimberger's protectionist program, and I guess she's wasted her time trying to establish that task force to attack other dispensaries as well, didn't she?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I just wonder what the Trulieve shareholders are going to have to say at their next board meeting about all of this.
I don't know. Maybe she could have used some of those funds on like worker protection, or like paying some people back for like killing their kid, or
Fair enough.
Else, anything else.
I think this is a prime example of dividing and conquering actually working. What they did to pit, the hemp industry against the marijuana industry, it worked. You divide and conquer, and it worked. On the plus side, just like the rest of y'all. The whole homegrown, the absence of homegrown in there.
Yep. Yeah.
It was a negative from the beginning. And then the next one is even before it became like a statewide, a positive initiative. Was it like all but I think when we first started reporting on this, Jason, and Trulieve put in $70 million. And I think like at that moment, the only other money being put up for this entire ballot initiative was through Normal, Florida, who had contributed something like $200.
Yeah, right? Very minuscule in the greater scheme of things.
Right. So money in this one, like clearly it wasn't going to win because it was all coming from one place.
Well, Bradley finally put something helpful in the chat. He said that Trulieve stock dropped 57% today.
That's a great point, Jenny Beth, because I felt like the whole time that we were covering this whole thing, the whole Amendment 3 was just with all the polling that they were showing and articles that were coming out. All it was trying to do was just prop up these MSO stock prices, and now it's come to fruition. The cream has rise to the top, and all of a sudden their stock drop.
Yep.
Somebody needs to sit down and reevaluate how you're going to politically push these measures over the finish line, because this one's screwly shit the bed. When you don't give people home grow and you got some big corporation trying to wrap their arms around the market, the average person's like, I don't want to do this, and the trap continues. What people understand universally is that if you're going to play games with me, the guy around the corner, or there's a shop up the street, I can get it for a lot less without all these problems. And that's got to all be factored in, because a lot of the political pundits, just honestly shit the bed in this election. We're going to have to go back and start reevaluating how do we get to the people that actually vote and convince them to vote for the things they want. Because what we think about marijuana in California here is not necessarily what the rest of the country thinks.
Right.
It's very, very true. And, I think they had a big fail in this, even though they did have a big win with this by them hitting 58.8%. That is a big margin. And I thought they were only going to hit 56%. So I do want to give them a little bit of kudos on getting close to that 60, but I never thought that they were going to pass by 60% in the first place in Florida, especially having the governor run an opposition campaign in lieu of you need to bring the people together. Cannabis is all about bringing the people together, and you need to find some type of cohesive workings around that. And the fact of the matter with all of this, and I think probably my biggest problem with the whole Amendment 3 was the fact that there was no criminal or civil penalties that could be held to any of these cannabis MSO companies in lieu of anything that they any contaminants or anything like that. And with Trulieve's record already, with one employee already dying in one of their facilities in Massachusetts, and the basically slap on the wrist, the $40,000 fine, I just think is just appalling to me. And I would not trust Trulieve to have that type of legal less liability.
Jason, I'm not going to put you into the moral standards category ever, but I did want to correct you on that OSHA fine. It was, remember, they got it knocked down to less than $10,000. They had to.
Oh, I remember. I thought it was $40,000. I'm sorry.
Initially,
It was
initially like 38,000,
okay.
and it got knocked down to like 10,000.
Got it.
That's all they had to pay for Lorna McMurray. And you bring up a very valid point with that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we didn't pass a measure that would allow Kim Rivers to be the Hillary Clinton of cannabis and just kill people without any repercussions.
Oh, I like what you did there, Jenny Beth. That was good.
I'm not touching that. And
man, that was good.
Rico said she's not kidding me.
You gotta say allegedly when you say stuff like that, Jenny Beth. You know, like it's not let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I think that's a very fair statement. Just saying.
Well, this was a huge bet by Trulieve. They took their IRS 280E money and basically gave themselves a refund that the IRS is disputing and spent it on a ballot initiative that would have really juiced up their stock prices. And it would have been a brilliant play if it had succeeded. But since it didn't succeed, now it's a complete wreck. And I can already see the shareholder lawsuits for all of this mismanagement.
Exactly.
And so that's coming up next.
Maybe Trulieve should focus growing on Trainwreck. Bring Trainwreck, make Trainwreck great again.
No.
Oh my God.
Kim Rivers needs to reach in her bag and figure this one out because she's blown everybody's money. Jason, I heard you got a new bag.
Oh, I did get a new bag. And you guys want to see my new bag? Look at this. Look at this bag, you guys. Look at that.
What does that
say? You know what the hell it says, Rico.
I can't read it.
When you have 10 beers.
Yeah.
It says Republicans are hotter.
Yeah, that's right.
You have 10 beers.
It's true.
Metabolism problem. There's been a pendulum swing over the last couple years here since COVID was over. And I don't know that we can predict where cannabis is going to be going. These were definitely fails, but they're public policy problems.
Yeah.
I think the people are still in favor of moving towards legalization of cannabis across the board. But when some people go out there and start waving their flag and they get shot to hell, like it's time to go back and rethink your policy and how you're going to do this. Because I think the country has gone more conservative. Whether we like it or not, whether it's good in the long run or not, the pendulum has swung back to be more conservative. And we'll see over the next 6 months to 2 years how this is going to work for the next cycle to see if we can get much done on cannabis. Because I don't think a lot's going to get done until the next big election cycle.
You know, I disagree. I mean, Trump signaled to get safe banking over to his desk. So I disagree with that. I think there's a few things that we can get done, but nonetheless, we're not going to keep on rehashing this over and over because we're going to be talking about it pretty much for the next 4 years.
Continuously.
This is what happens when you let sore winners back in the office.
You know what, Rico? I'm going to push back on that because what was it? What was the first guy's name, Millie? He was because Trump is basically the second president to win 3 times in a row. Yeah, since Franklin Delano Roosevelt did it, and so Trump did it, won 3 times in a row, and you know what I'm saying, and that's what it is.
Oh, stop it.
And on that,
Omar and I are attorneys, and when you go to court 63 times to get told to pack your fucking dolls up and leave the room, you didn't win. Sorry to tell you.
Fair enough.
Last night when we did win, Jason Beck texted me simply, "We did it, Joe."
We did it, Joe. That's right. We did it, Joe. That's right. And on that, we are going to roll right into attorney at law, Mr. Dale Schaefer. He's the founder of Armada Law, and at one point in time did some time for a cannabis crime. Here to show you how to piss up a rope and defy gravity. That's right. It is none other than attorney at law, Mr. Dale Schaefer.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My story this morning comes out of Marijuana Moment. And when I was looking for stories yesterday, the election sucked all the oxygen out of the room. So I fell back onto an op-ed. I know we don't normally do these, but it brought my attention for just how ridiculous some of this stuff seems to be to me. It's an op-ed written by Jeffrey Lawrence from the Reason Foundation. And the headline is "Time to Level the Playing Field Between Marijuana and Hemp Products with a Single Cannabis Retail License Type." And I stopped and thought about that. I said, what drug are you on? I mean, really, how in the hell do you think you're going to get this thing passed? That was my first gut reaction. So I actually read through this, and the Reason Foundation put out a 90-page proposal of what to do to fix marijuana. And I must say I didn't read it, but the American Trade Association for Cannabis and Hemp did. And what they pointed out is, okay, sounds great. Now, give us a solution. And in my world, I was raised to believe that if you bring a problem up without bringing forward a reasonable solution, you're just whining, okay? So that was my starting position with this. And they pointed out that if we didn't have so much tax and regulation, we wouldn't have this hemp derivative market, intoxicating hemp. And, you know, that's a no shit, Sherlock. We wouldn't. But because of the way our government is set up, that's exactly what we have. So if you're going to complain about this without offering a solution, again, it just smells to me like you're whining about stuff. Okay? And the hemp bill that was passed, it took a look at THC by itself, didn't talk about any of the isomers, you know, THCA, you know, THC8, O, acetate, all that stuff. Didn't talk about it. So an entire industry popped up, not necessarily overnight, but pretty damn quick, where they took a cannabinoid like CBD, and the pharmaceutical industry knows how to do this. You put it under pressure and temperature with different chemicals, and you can convert it to a THC analog. And they started selling it because Congress, in its infinite wisdom, had only talked about Delta-9 THC. Everything else was sort of off the table, and this industry is off and running. And in our system, what happens is once you start making money, you spend money to keep making money. So the hemp derivative business right now is making a shitload of money, and I don't see them just putting their hands up and go, we surrender, we're going to walk away. They're going to continue to fight for this industry. And the Ninth Circuit here in California issued a ruling that it's the source of the cannabinoid, not the process it goes through, to determine whether it's synthetic. Okay? So if you take CBD and you put it through a process and turn it into a THC, that's not synthetic. If you make it out of whole cloth like spice, that's synthetic. It's dangerous, and it, you know, we don't allow it. But all of these derivatives from cannabinoids, they're lawful, whether people like it or not. And in our system of government, the federal government thinks it controls all the cannabis across the country. It gave a free pass to everything in the hemp world, and it restricts the living shit out of everything in the cannabis world. So that's the position we're in right now. Now, there's no evidence that these hemp-derived cannabinoid isomers are dangerous. That's not what we're talking about. The problem here is about making money. Okay? If you're in the cannabis world right now trying to do this with 280, all the problems, you're circling the drain. If you're in the hemp world selling Delta-8, you've got to rely on the states to do something about it like California did. And as Omar knows, we think these regulations were draconian. Maybe there wasn't enough of an emergency. There's some problems with that, but that's where this is going to have to get fixed. So to say that our solution or our proposed solution is let's just give out a single license. You can sell hemp-derived cannabinoids and THC naturally derived from the plant, as long as you don't sell it to kids. Okay, my question then is, how in the world do you think you're going to get this accomplished? Because if you bring forth this proposal without a reasonable solution, again, I was raised that you're just whining. Okay, so this op-ed just got my juices up a little bit, and watching the election last night, you know, it was tumultuous. So we don't normally cover op-eds here, but this one kind of got under my skin. I'm gonna throw it back at you. What do you guys think about the proposition, just make a single licensed retailer across the entire nation as a solution to the cannabis and hemp problem? Throw it back at you. What do you guys think?
I mean,
that would have been a great solution at the very, very beginning of legalization.
Agreed.
For everybody across the nation. But given our slow to launch, the way we've done it, imagine all the people who paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, like Bates and Beck here, for their dispensary license. What, now they're going to have to compete with somebody who pays $500 for their hemp license, and they're on even footing? It just doesn't make sense at this point. It's just not a viable solution.
I totally agree with you on with that analysis. You know, I mean, unless they're going to kick us some kind of rebate for all the money that we've spent and to make it a level playing field, which I would be totally fine with. I'd be good with that. And speaking of level playing field, you know what I'm saying? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You know, make sure you guys go over to parodygummy.com where you can get these 3 amazing flavors. We have the Raspberry Riots with the winner of last night's election, Donald Trump. We have the Bad Hombres if you're feeling like a party animal. And we have the Sleepy Joes if you just need to put yourself to sleep after last night's win.
Back to the story. I completely agree with Dale. This is absolute bullshit. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I need these people to kind of just sit down. If you want to play in recreational cannabis, please go apply, do your live scan, call one of us. We'll write your license application for you. If it's merit-based, I'll charge you a little more, but it's going to be fine. You can do it, but you can't do it with this low barrier to entry. And you also can't penalize people who have been paying these renewal fees and aggressive licensing fees and taxes and everything for years. It's ridiculous. We're taxed on our taxes in LA.
And we just got a super chat in from the Cole Memo. Much love, Cole Memo. We thank you so much. He says, and this is a fantastic point as well. He says the taxi driver said the same thing when Uber came. I think that's a really good analogy right there. Like, that is really good.
Yes, indeed.
Well, this is something that the Congress might be able to address, and soon to be President Trump would rein this in. But Congress is going to have to go back to the Farm Bill and more specifically define intoxicating hemp products and then exclude them from hemp. I mean, there's things that can be done. Whether they will do it or not, it's going to remain to be seen. It's something I think could be very helpful to our industry. Is, a kid could walk into a Stop and Rob and pick up Delta 8 products. No one's checking any IDs. They're just for sale. And people do not want that. We want stuff that's tested. We want kids to stay out of this. And if you push too hard, the trap steps up and continues to make money. So you've got to solve this problem legislatively, because if you don't, the trap just continues to prosper.
Very, 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 very true, Dale. I totally agree with you on that. The trap isn't going to win. They are 10xing and 20xing pretty much every state right now. I mean,
Jason, would you say that with Donald Trump back in the presidency, that the trap won?
I think it's going to be a trap-tastic time. Rico.
Jason, would you say that with Parody Gummies, you're now a hemp trapper too?
I think for sure, yeah, 100%. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? But we're only trapping to people 21 and over. You know what I mean? Make sure you show your ID. You know what I mean? We're not here to sell this stuff to kids or advertise to kids or any of that kind of stuff. We are just here for sensible adults that want relief and providing them with quality products at economical price that's not overtaxed and over-regulated. So shout out to Trump for signing the Farm Bill.
We are for sale.
Yes. And on that, we are going to roll into our commercial, and we are going to be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
We are back. Now, whatever you're doing, make sure you smash that like button. I know you'll appreciate it, we'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com. And I've already mentioned about Parody Gummy, so I want to make sure you guys go www.parodygummy.com. If you are a retailer that is interested in selling these products, you can reach out to me directly, or you can go to our website and put in an inquiry. we would love to next day a shipment over to your stores. And we also want to send a big happy birthday to Kendra. That's right. Miss Anna Lewis's 16-year-old daughter turned 16 years old today, and so we want to send much love over to Kendra. And one final last thing. I know last night was a tough night for a lot of people, and we want to make sure that you guys know that you guys can still go over to the Green Party and contribute to Jill Stein's campaign. They have a lot of debt that they need to alleviate, and we definitely want to help them with that. You can read her full marijuana policy on the website. It'll be the link in the description, and head over and help out the Green Party with some green.
Are you a business that's suffering from the hyperinflation that is plaguing America today? We have the solution for you. That's right, Patriot Business Financing. Head on over to www.patriotbfc.com and apply for a loan up to $2 million. Any state, any industry, even the cannabis industry, the CBD industry, as well as the industrial hemp fiber industry. Secure up to $2 million today, and make sure that when you apply, you tell Paul you said hi from High at 9.
And we're back, Rico.
And we are back. The bi-coastal brown belt powerhouse himself, known for years as the savior for cannabis pioneers everywhere. He's been known to break wrists and walk away when anybody enters his cipher, and patches his duchy on the right-hand side. Here to break us off a little Wednesday morning heat is none other than the legendary Omar Figueuroa. Yeah.
Thank you, Rico. Happy Hump Day, everyone. My story is from NBC 10 Boston by Sam Drysdale. The headline is, Psychedelics Legalization Push Poised for Ballot Failure. Massachusetts voters on Tuesday appeared to reject a ballot measure that would have allowed the personal and clinical use of some natural psychedelic drugs, namely psilocybin, psilocin, DMT, ibogaine, and mescaline. Question 4 had a two-pronged approach to legalizing the substances. It would have authorized a system of psychedelic therapy centers where clients could purchase the drugs with a 15% state tax and use them with supervision from someone who had been trained in accordance with state guidelines. It also would have allowed for residents to grow, share, and use the plants at home, provided that they did not advertise and sell the drugs. At about 12:40 a.m. today, results tabulated by the AP showed 43% in support and 57% against, with 73% of the ballots counted. Quote, we spoke to tens of thousands of Massachusetts voters and heard broad agreement that natural psychedelics should be more accessible to those who cannot find relief through traditional medication and therapy. We understand there were concerns about the home grow provisions, and those concerns likely led to tonight's result. But we have made hugely important strides on this issue of psychedelic therapy, and we will keep fighting to find new pathways for all those who struggle with their mental health. We look forward to working with legislators in the new session to continue advocating for access, for hope, and for healing. A spokesperson for the Yes on 4 campaign, which dubbed itself Massachusetts for Mental Health Options, said around 12:30 a.m. on Wednesday. Over the campaign season, supporters pointed to research that shows natural psychedelics can be used to treat some serious mental health conditions, including PTSD, anxiety, and depression, as well as for addiction treatment. Opponents warned that the substances could have unintended health risks, especially if being used at home unsupervised, and that the likely high cost of treatment at one of the regulated psychedelic therapy centers would be a serious barrier to entry for some. As the question did not pass, it cannot be brought back to ballot again until at least 2028. State law does not allow the same question to be on the ballot 2 election cycles in a row. A few legislative efforts this session to decriminalize psychedelic plants gained a little traction and would be unlikely to go much further next year given Tuesday's vote. Asked about his opinion on question 4 last month, House Speaker Ron Mariano took no particular position. Quote, psychedelics. I outgrew that stuff. Nah, there's no, I don't know, I'll figure it out, Mariano said. The Speaker's office later told the news service he was, quote, joking, end quote, when he made the remark. The headline is Psychedelics Legalization Push Poised for Ballot Failure. And my take is, with more than 40% approval, there's clearly increasing public approval to legalize entheogenic substances. Society will hopefully reclaim the wisdom of the past, popularized by Terence McKenna in his book, The Archaic Revival, which described the use of entheogenic substances by our ancestors in all cultures around the world. This is Omar Figueuroa, lawyer, publisher, and Ganjier instructor, reporting from Sonoma County, California, the traditional territory of the Pomo, Miwok, and Wapo nations, for High at 9, high noon Eastern.
Yeah, Omar, man. Psychedelics took a beating last night, and they couldn't psych people up enough to vote yes for them.
Well, they got like pretty good, like 40%. That's what a lot of the cannabis initiatives, how they were doing when they were first proposed. So I see psychedelics following a similar trajectory to cannabis, but there's not this huge push to commercialize psychedelics the way there was with cannabis. Initially, there was a lot of like investors interested in patenting psychedelic compounds and coming up with breakthrough pharmaceuticals. But I think that, our culture has a lot to learn from the past, and we are due for an archaic revival because we are at an existential point in, the humanity's life trajectory. Just looking at like climate change, all our,
Do you really believe in climate change?
Go ahead.
Do you really believe in climate change?
Whatever. Well, do you believe in huge hurricanes in Asheville, North Carolina at 2,000 feet?
I mean,
the Democrats did that. The Democrats did that, Omar. You can't reason with Jason.
No, I'm not even trying to go. My reason for this, Omar, I'm going to tell you why. I don't believe in global warming at all. I think it's a total hoax, and I just want to go into my reasoning. And people are entitled to their own opinions on all of this, and so. But my reasoning is this: I grew up in the '80s, and I remember in the '80s they were talking about the whole climate crisis and global warming and all this, and they all said that that in 20 years. That California, if we didn't change anything, would be in the ocean. But yet, if you look at real estate prices on coastal communities, they have only gone up, and no one is trying to sell their coastal community properties for dirt cheap because all of a sudden the ocean's going to swallow them up. So to me, it's one big hoax.
Oh my God!
Places in California, like Carlsbad, like Encinitas, where the oceanfront homes are sliding down into the ocean, and so it's not really something that can be totally ignored. It hasn't been as catastrophic as it was told because we actually did something about it in California. California has taken a lot of steps to mitigate a lot of the climate change. Maybe that's why we're not seeing the same impacts as other states. But I do think that humanity could learn from the past, and that
I believe in that.
I mean, if you read the Archaic Revival, it's basically talking about how patriarchy got rid of the matriarchy and imposed this controlled, way of thinking and this whole system. And I think that we do have more to learn from women, and we should have a stronger role for women in making decisions for humanity. I think we are living in a male-dominated society, and the results are not always the best for all humans. And so that was the point of the Archaic Revival, that there was a point in humanity's evolution where humans were reconnecting to the Mother Earth through the use of psychedelics. And it wasn't all about controlling nature. It wasn't about dominating. We can be better than that. We're not just consumers.
Research from the 50s, Omar, was just very clear that when it comes to depression, and which is a major problem they're trying to find drugs for in the 50s and 60s, that the entheogenics, especially psilocybin, were much better than the antidepressants they had. That research was done at the push from the CIA. They wanted to find a true serum. They said, go out and test every plant, and they figured out, shit, this stuff does some pretty good stuff. And that research is still there. I think we have a clearer path and an easier path to legalization of entheogenics than we do with cannabis, because the research is so clear. And when you look at like Prozac was no better than a sugar pill when you looked at moderate depression or even less. And the entheogenics are much better than that. And we have thousands of years of use of this. We don't have kids with 3 eyes and 4 legs and things like that. So we're not seeing that kind of stuff. But I think what we're seeing is we may have put a lot of these things on pause for a minute until the dust settles over this election and see where we're going to be going, what kind of forces can be mustered, and what can be done that takes the types of steps we need to move this towards legalization. Because again, the trap is out there. You can buy microdoses and full doses of psychedelics. Well, I used to go to concerts and take acid a lot, and that was a long time ago, and it's still out there. And so the trap will win if we don't figure out a way to put our heads together and talk about this and move forward with reasonable legislation.
Fair enough. Jenny, you have anything else you want to say on this?
No, I think you guys have pretty much covered it up, and I agree with Omar. Y'all should listen to women more.
Oh boy, here we go with all that. On that, we're going to go to a commercial, and we're going to be right back.
This plan would make marijuana legal, but would not remove all of the consequences. Explain that for us.
Why are they busting in my door after midnight over something that Illinois says is legal?
Right. We've run into so much cannabis. We've run out of places to put it.
Things are legalized, but it's not legalized completely.
My mini doc on legalization policy in Illinois is available for free streaming now at colememo.com/minidoc.
Yes, coming up next, that's right, it's Miss Jenny Beth Dills, America's young sweetheart. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis and of Justice Served, a 501c3, and here to have you listen to what women have to say. That's right, it is Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
Yes. Good morning. Oh, all right. Now that we're done with the election, I have some results out of Colorado Springs, which is really interesting. And this has been a battle that has been going for quite some freaking time. But this is a confusing one because Colorado Springs voters appear to have approved 2 competing marijuana measures that will shape the future of retail marijuana sales in the city. With just over 53% of the vote, ballot issue 2D passed, amending the city charter to ban recreational marijuana businesses within city limits. This charter amendment would make it difficult for voters or city council to revisit the decision in the future. At the same time, voters also approved ballot question 300, allowing about 90 existing medical marijuana shops in Colorado Springs to apply for recreational marijuana licenses. This creates a legal conundrum, with both measures passing, but each calling for different outcomes. Colorado Springs Mayor Yemi Malbolde, whatever her name is, commented on the situation, saying, "We believe our city charter, which is our city constitution, will prevail," but added that he is in talks with the city attorney for guidance. Ballot issue 2D was backed by city council members aiming to keep marijuana away from underage users, and here's the money part, Rico, preserve relationships with nearby military bases. And don't forget James Dobson and focus on the family, but all right. Councilwoman Lynette Crow-Iverson, a strong proponent of 2D, has voiced her opposition to recreational marijuana sales. Meanwhile, supporters of ballot question 300 emphasize its potential to fund public safety and mental health programs, particularly for veterans dealing with PTSD. It's worth noting that recent zoning ordinance, sorry, y'all, my allergies, which bans recreational sales near schools and treatment centers, could also play a role in determining what happens next. The El Paso County Clerk and Recorder's Office will continue counting votes tomorrow, and we're going to definitely keep you updated on this one. I operated in Colorado Springs. We were medical only because, duh, you have to be. But this is just really frustrating. Like, I just don't understand how Colorado Springs is once again talking out of both sides of their mouth. You finally pass recreational. Finally get an adult use program, and you can't use it because you guys went ahead and banned all recreational sales in the city of Colorado Springs. What ignorance is this? Like, I'm really excited to have Omar and Dale on here today to kind of discuss the legality of what happened here. But I mean, it's interesting to me, and I'm going to throw it back to you guys and see what you think. And I think Millie has a picture of when I was a little baby running a shop in Colorado Springs. But yes.
Interesting.
Well, I'm not an expert on Colorado law, and every one of these states that has an initiative process, excuse me, has some rules or court interpretations of rules, and whether or not the one of these ballot initiatives gets the most votes is going to prevail. I don't know. It just seems like they've shot themselves in the foot, and you just have to wonder how in the hell did they get to this point where you have competing ballot initiatives that both win.
Yeah. So I remember when we were working on the state ballot initiative, we put language in our proposed initiative that said if more than one initiative wins, the one with the most votes is the, if this is the one with the most votes, then this one,
a preemptive clause,
is in force and effect, and the other one is of no effect whatsoever. And that was the express language of the initiative that would have been approved by the voters. So it's a matter of legislative drafting when you're writing the initiative to think ahead about these possibilities and game it out so that you can have language that deals with that situation. If it's silent on the issue, then it's probably going to be for the courts to interpret based on the common law and the case law.
Well, I think that's definitely where they're going with it, because the mayor was saying they were already at the GOP's watch party last night talking to the city attorney trying to figure out how to get around this. So here come the lawsuits. Super excited. And she did get it. That's me running Levity. So shout out to Levity. If you are a medical patient in Colorado Springs, check out Levity Wellness. It's still alive and kicking.
Yeah, now it looks like they're going to be able to sell to anyone 21 and over pretty soon at some point too.
I don't think you understand just how conservative and not conservative.
Oh, I do.
Colorado Springs is. Like, they are so beholden. Like, the Air Force and all the bases literally have their nuts in a vice grip. So I don't think that it's scary, and it's frustrating that finally, after 80 million tries, we pass adult use and they block it immediately.
Well, in all fairness, this was their last time to be able to do this, because there was another initiative on the ballot that said that if it doesn't pass, that they can't run it again.
Right. So I think that this is, and they knew it was going to pass this time, which is why they went ahead and threw this on the ballot to amend the city's constitution, which is their governing document. So I think that's going to make it really interesting to see how we move forward. Yeah, maybe they're going to have to recruit Governor Kristi Noem from South Dakota to show them how to not enact the will of the people. Yeah. Or if they got a dog they need taken care of. Oh man, I'm just happy that Peanut got some retribution last night. Oh, Peanut.
Well, I would hope that all of this would be in the next discussions about initiatives. Like Omar said, there was language put in that would only allow one to win if they were competing. And why, if they didn't do that, why? But going forward across the country, initiatives got spanked this time. And why? They need to figure out why and try to draft these so it doesn't look like it's a power grab by an MSO. And why you would not let people grow their own weed is just, that's just for money. You let people grow their own and go to the store when they want, and I think that's a better approach than force them to go to the store or the trap. The trap's going to win every time. Fair enough. You have any thoughts on this, Rico, before we move on to our final story?
Some more shit.
Did you say s'mores? S'more shit? S'more shit?
It is more shit. And this is chaos, man.
S'mores.
Buckle up, y'all. We have a lot of chaos going forward.
Love some s'mores, you guys. Love some s'mores, man. Oh man. Yeah, free peanut, you guys. Free peanuts.
Like the marshmallow side more than the chocolate side, huh, Jason?
You're funny, Rico. You are a funny guy. Well, you know what? I'm going to end the story, you guys, on some good news overall. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
That's right.
Yeah, hurry up.
All right. Well, because medical cannabis prevails at Nebraska's ballot box, but the fate depends on legal challenges, you guys. That's right. A majority of Nebraskans voted yesterday to embrace legalizing and regulating medical cannabis, though the final say will likely be up to the courts, not the ballot box. Both initiative measures 437 and 438 to legalize and regulate medical cannabis had a wide margin of support statewide. The measures came from the Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana campaign, and this was the campaign's third attempt to reach the ballot. Looks like third time was the charm, you guys. And whether medical cannabis becomes legal in the state post-election, however, depends on the outcome of legal challenges currently playing out in Lancaster County District Court, which we have been covering over the past few days. District Court Judge Susan Strong is weighing legal arguments following a 4-day trial about the validity of tens of thousands of already validated signatures on each measure's petition for ballot access. Her decision isn't expected for at least 2 weeks, you guys. And Strong rejected an attempt to prevent continuing or making public Tuesday's election results. The AP called the race in favor of Initiative 437 on Tuesday night just before midnight. And as of that time, the legalization ballot measure led with 71.2% of the vote. Initiative 438, the regulatory ballot measure, followed closely at 67.5%, and Initiative Measure 437, the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Patient Protection Act, would set an allowable amount of medical cannabis at 5 ounces. Exempt patients and caregivers from penalty for using or assisting someone else in using cannabis and require a written recommendation from a healthcare practitioner before prescription. Initiative Measure 438, the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Regulation Act, would define cannabis, legalize possession, manufacturing, distributing, delivering, and dispensing cannabis for medical purposes, and create the Nebraska Medical Cannabis Commission to oversee the new law. Krista Eggers, the campaign manager for the ballot measure, told the Nebraska Examiner on Tuesday that after more than a decade of fighting and 3 ballot attempts, in quotes, it solidifies for us that we have always been fighting for the right reason, they say. In an additional quote, we have been fighting for the patients in this state, and tonight's win is not because of a few people or one campaign, she said. Tonight's win is for the Nebraska patients, she says. And the legal challenges were bought by John Cohen, a former state senator and former state Board of Health member who opposes medical marijuana, and Secretary of State Bob Envin, who launched his own challenges as part of Cohen's lawsuit. Even though his office had already certified the ballot measures for this ballot, Attorney General Mike Hilger's office is defending Envin in this case, and Hilgers was opposed to legalizing medical cannabis and Delta-8, which contains THC, the compound in cannabis plant most commonly associated with getting high. Hilger served with Cohen in the legislature, and so did one of Cohen's attorneys, State Senator Andrew LaGrone. The lawsuit could end in one of few ways, you guys. Strong could side with Cohen and Envin outright, avoiding the election results, and side with Cohen and Envin, but allow the ballot sponsors to try to cure the invalidity of enough signatures in a second phase of the trial after the election.
Right the first time, bud.
Thank you. Side with the ballot sponsors outright, or ending lower court trial, which would leave the election results intact. And Strong and attorneys involved in the case have acknowledged that no matter who prevails, the decision is likely to be appealed to the Nebraska Supreme Court. Eggers, whose 10-year-old son Colton has epilepsy and severe seizures, there is still work ahead, and the campaign remains confident it will prevail in its court fight, Eggers said, and hopes that someday soon patients and loved ones will find hope and strength from a new treatment option. In an additional quote, "The day that happens, that's when we know that we did our jobs," Eggers said. In an additional quote, "It's not over, a lot ahead of us, but I think tonight speaks that Nebraska have had their voices heard once and for all on this issue." I would agree with that.
And multiple legislative efforts, including some led by one of the ballot sponsors, State Senator Anna Wishart of Lincoln, had previously stalled moving the fight to the ballot box, and the campaign started in 2019 for the 2020 ballot with a constitutional amendment that Nebraska's Supreme Court ultimately ruled was too broad in violation of the Nebraska Constitution. And for the 2022 ballot, sponsors returned with separate petitions to legalize and regulate the drug, but they fell short of gathering enough signatures, in part after a major donor's death. The 2024 attempt is the furthest Nebraskans for medical marijuana has gotten, and the U.S. Department of Justice has formally moved to reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug, which could aid future federal approval. You guys, time will tell about all that because they've already delayed those things, but whatever. 38 states have legalized medical cannabis, while 24 of them, plus Washington, D.C., have also legalized adult use marijuana, and the other states, including Nebraska, allow limited access to cannabis products with little to no THC, according to the Pew Research Center. Nebraska's constitutional officers will meet on December 2nd to certify Tuesday's election results, and legal challenges can continue after that date, you guys. So much more still to go with this, but congratulations, Nebraska. It looks like you guys got out there and voted and finally made your voices heard, and a big win for medical cannabis in the Cornhusker state of Nebraska. What do y'all have to say about this?
It's a win for now.
Right. We gonna see. It's a big we gonna see for me. I mean, like, let's see. Like, yes, obviously we've heard what the people want, but we've also seen in South Dakota's example, you know, the will of the voter is not always what the government goes with. So, I mean, I hope this is a win for access. I hope this is a win for families and patients who need these products, but we will see.
Well, hopefully it'd be a wake-up call if after the election results they go, oh no, well, we're not going to let it be on the ballot and take it away ab initio and just say, too bad, I don't care how you voted. We're going to find a procedural way to kill this. I don't think that will be good for the legislators in Nebraska. The people have spoken. They should find a way equitably to allow this, make sure the rules are fair so that you can verify the signatures. If you get it on there, let the people vote. But the will of the voters is what we're supposed to allow to prevail here, not go in a trial and get a judge to order that you didn't satisfy it. We're going to take it off the ballot and just rule it never happened. I don't think that would be a good thing to happen here.
Fair enough. Any thoughts on this, Omar?
Yeah, I think the will of the voters must always be executed.
I agree.
Instead of trying to find procedural technicalities to keep it from going into effect. But it's Nebraska, and I think it's outcome-oriented decision-making. They're going to decide what the right answer is first, and then find reasons to support their decision. And it's the opposite of rational decision-making.
I would agree with that, Omar. Let the will of the voters be heard. They obviously passed by an overwhelmingly majority, you know, over 70%. That's a big number right there. You know, if that was in Florida, they would have adult use right now.
But it was like that in South Dakota, and they didn't get it.
I understand that. What were you saying, Omar?
Well, in Florida, you know, it would have passed as mere legislation, but the Florida initiative was a constitutional amendment. That's why they needed 60%.
Well, no. I understand all that, but my point is that this medical initiative passed in Nebraska by over 70%, and so I was just saying that if this would have been the adult use amendment in Florida, they would have passed. I was just making the overwhelming public support. Yeah, that's what I was trying to convey. Yes, exactly.
No, and my point is it would have been enough to amend the Constitution, probably in Nebraska as well.
Fair enough. All right, Rico.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's do it, bro.
Thank you all for joining us for yet another episode of High at 9 News. You can catch us live weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our super fans showing love, getting their comments.
Cole memo.
We had the Cole memo coming through.
Yes.
Showing love. Thank you, brother. Do we have any others today, Jason?
Just the Cole memo a couple times. So much love, Cole. We appreciate all your support, my man.
Come on, y'all. Y'all gave all that money to Elon and Trump, and y'all can't break us off a little bit more cash. I know we got a heavy red people in the comments. Come on, break us off. Break us off. Need some money. We're gonna start breaking like Trump over here. But also big love to the rest of our fantastic live audience and online supporters. Catch us across all media platforms, tuning in each day to the headlines of chaos, also known as the developing cannabis industry. To our vetted correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing us much needed variety of perspective and your respected opinions to the table. Thank you too. Our production team, Cloud Media Partners, all the sponsors keeping the lights on, Millie and Adam behind the scenes, keeping our AV struggles to an absolute minimum. I think we did pretty good today, Jason.
Yes, we did fantastic, bro. Look at this.
Yeah, we love y'all. We love y'all.
Much
As
love.
always, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason why we show up to read these stories every single day. Thank you, too. It has been Wednesday, November 6th, the day of the aftermath, 2024. Show's over. You've all been blessed with the top industry headlines. One more we didn't get in today, I wanted to make a quick note of, thanks to Leah Patrick's bump in the comments. Big congrats to voters out in 3 Texas cities, Dallas, Lockhart, and Bastrop, all of which approved local initiatives to decriminalize marijuana possession. This means no more arrests in those cities for possession of small amounts in most situations, and it also bars THC testing to distinguish hemp from illegal marijuana. More on that tomorrow. We hope that today's headlines were enough to put in your pipe and smoke at least until then. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. Omar Figueuroa, the world's on standby for some positive affirmation this morning. Can you please leave them with a few good words?
Well, I feel a lot like Rita Marley felt after she learned Bob had passed away, but keep in mind that he's in a better world, and I just want to echo Rita's words. I want to get high, so high, and so do all of you. So let's do it.